Welcome to Wisdom Talk Radio, a collaborative community of explorers in conscious living. Welcome to today's episode of Wisdom Talk Radio. This is where we get to explore the depths of conscious living and how to live an expanded life. Join us to be inspired and encouraged, transformed, and to tap into a deeper sense of joy and possibility. If you know about my work, you know that I'm a Turaya Meditation Teacher. It's one of the things that is in my field and in what I do. I hold the heart as the receiver of truth, and that's a big statement. So when the pioneer teachers of something called heart rhythm meditation were introduced to me, I knew I wanted to invite them to have a deeper conversation. So stay tuned for what I have a sensing will be a really rich experience. I'm Laurie Seymour, and I'm host of Wisdom Talk Radio and CEO and founder of the Baca Institute. We are the home of the quantum connection process. So you can go to the Baca Institute's website to discover your unique connection with the essence of who you are by taking the quantum connection quiz. Why do I say quantum connection? It's simply that we're each designed to directly connect with Source in our own unique way. And knowing our own archetypal style helps us to directly connect in a way that opens up a deeper connection for you with the universe. In a way, it's the secret to creating what you truly want in your life, because who you are is truly exactly who is needed. So my guests today are Susanna and Bair, who are the co-founders of I Am Heart, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping people access emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being through the transformative practice of heart rhythm meditation, or as it's known also, HRM. So you'll probably hear that frequently today. Together, they've spent decades developing and teaching this heart-centered approach, which synchronizes breath and heartbeat to create coherence in body, mind, and spirit. And I've been talking so much in my own gatherings around coherence, so that's a really important word to me these days. They both studied intensively for over 4 decades with, and now represent, Sufi master Pir Vilayat Inayat Khan. Susanna Bair is a pioneering teacher of heart-based meditation, whose work draws from over 40 years of study in psychology, the arts, and the Sufi mystical tradition. Puran Bair brings a unique blend of science and spirituality to this work. With a background in mathematics and physics, he has developed practical techniques that make ancient wisdom both measurable and applicable to modern life. Welcome to my 2 guests today. I am really excited to have you here. I'm really excited, frankly, to have a conversation with you.
Thank you. We're honored to be here.
The same with us, to find somebody else who is really focused on the heart and who has a meditation background is like great fun to be with.
Exactly.
Thank you, Laurie, for
that's
inviting
how I feel
us.
too. Yes.
Right. Yes.
So your 2 books, Living from the Heart and Energize Your Heart, break down the core practice that you have been teaching for all of these years, the heart rhythm meditation. And it gives a very clear model, I think, for developing the heart's potential. So I would love for you to start us off. I mean, we're kind of diving into the center of it, into the heart of it. But really, it is the essence of it, which is what is this that we think of as, okay, it pumps the blood, and we forget, or we've never explored what the potential really is. science has got to catch up with what has been done
That's right.
for these many years.
Yes. I think it's important to think of the heart as a multi-layered instrument. It has the physical part, of course, essential to produce a rhythm in the body. And it's not just a circulation system. It really produces a signal that the whole body feels. Every cell of the body feels this rhythm that the heart produces in various ways, electrically, magnetically, and through pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But then the heart also has this unique ability from no other organ is like this. Because it contracts electrically, it produces a magnetic field. And that magnetic field is centered on the heart, but it has no boundary. It fills the room and goes beyond that. So this gives us a whole nother way of sensing the reality around us because the heart not only transmits this signal, but it receives the heart signals from everything else. So there's this interaction magnetically between each person and everything else. And we want to learn how to decode that and use it, and also how to influence to help other people. And then the heart is also a reflection. It holds a reflection of the soul. So that means that to find the soul, we don't have to abandon the body. We can go actually find it in the body. That's very, very helpful to the spirituality of our time.
Wow. You've said enough in a few sentences, Puran, to have a conversation for the next hour at least.
Yes, good.
But truly, because one of the lenses or the frames that I use to view the universe or to view our place in it is that we are part of this quantum field, and that we are the field at the same time.
Right.
And what you're speaking to about the heart is just simply another lens in a way, and it's also it has the potential to become a very practical way of connecting with our own, not only our own soul, it's our own everyday moment to moment guidance. Because
Yes.
that you have just touched on this way of accessing our potential, not the heart's potential, but our potential.
Yes.
And in a way, Laurie, the way we see it is that the heart is on the one hand the microcosm of who we are, and at the same time the macrocosm. And the beauty is that we can both of these reality access through a practice. Because as long as this concept of macrocosm and microcosm are just concepts, theoretical concepts that sound very good, that way you can have great thoughts or talks or philosophies about it, but what it really brings it home if you have a practice. And that is what we have created in heart rhythm meditation. The word actually says it. The heart has a rhythm. And to access that rhythm is a real skill, because a lot of people are not in touch with their heart.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do their main work in life is not to be in touch with the heart, because the heart holds these different dimensions. It holds, on the one hand, the very physical part of our being. As you mentioned earlier, there is the circulation there is a rhythm there. So there's really all the kind of heart diseases that we have today. So it is connected with health. But then because the heart also holds all of our emotion, all of our experiences that we ever had, it is very strongly connected with relationships. And the relationships, intimate relationships, but also our relationships in work, where our mission comes from, our purpose comes from, and wants to be explored. And then last not least, and this is where the macrocosm comes in, and that is our spiritual development. So we call these four things, health, relationship, accomplishments, and spiritual development. Those are really the pressing needs of every human being to pay attention to, and to have a practice for that. we think that's just mind-blowing, that you can have actually a day-to-day meditation or practice, breathing practices, where you can access these kinds of dimensions of the self.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's pretty mind-blowing. And one of the pieces I'd love to bring forward is around the emotional. I think of it as the emotional body or emotions. And when I was a psychotherapist, that's certainly a lot of what I worked with people. And I also saw that people could get stuck in that place of thinking, oh, well, the heart, yeah, people do think about relationships. They think about love as having to do with relationships. And somehow the bigger picture of our own relationship with the universe, our relationship with source, our relationship with ourself, that feels like it moves into a different aspect of the heart. And I'm curious if, not if you see it that way, but if in your experience in working in this way, how you've encountered that.
Yes. You speak about path in your website, which is very interesting to us. In our work, we identify 9 steps in a spiritual path, the path that everybody's on, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And in these 9 steps, there's the concept of self changes.
Mm-hmm.
So we say there's three big questions in life. What is the self? What is the source? And what is our relationship between the self and the source?
Mm.
And these 3 questions, the answers to these change at every step of the path until finally one realizes that the self and the source are not only connected, but they are integrated. They are the same. It's the macrocosm and the microcosm.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how it starts out. People start out feeling very isolated and lonely and separated and unconnected.
Mm-hmm.
So we connect people through breath.
Mm-hmm.
And breathing moves energy, and by breathing you can move energy in the body, and then attention directs the energy. So the power of the energy is in the breath, and the attention is directing where it goes. So we put our attention on the heart, and then the energy goes through the heart, and we learn how to send that energy to others, to expand the heart in different dimensions. Because the magnetic field is, although it's conceptually uniform in all directions, it's not. It has a shape.
Mm-hmm.
We have a book about that. Our second book is about the shape of the magnetic field, which changes according to our orientation and our personality and our intention. But it can be directed by breath. So you can tune yourself to be more sensitive or more powerful,
Mm-hmm.
or more cooperative, or more of a a lone wolf driver of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So you can adjust this. The heart has it's not just warm and fuzzy, nice feelings. The heart is courage and creativity and power.
Yeah.
All the power comes from the heart, really. It's the power center, the energy center of the whole being.
Yeah. It is the creative center is
The
how I
creative
see it.
center, exactly. Yes.
So I'd love for one of you to speak to how the heart and brain work together, because that's some of the research that we did over the years of, we think that the brain is the one that's in charge. And so we're trained that way too. And we have to do better, and we have to study more, and we have to work harder. And all of that is that mental efforting. And so it forgets the heart. The heart is subsumed into well, as long as the heart's working okay, everything's okay.
Exactly.
But we miss in that all of what the heart brings to our attention, to our capabilities, and to our life. And so and there's something that energetically that I have been tracking over the years of the connection between the heart and the brain, and how they actually work together. And I'm guessing that you two have had a lot of experience in how that how you see it and how that works.
Well, in simple ways, is we see the heart as the center of the whole human being.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a transfer station. Wherever you want to go with the heart, you can go with the heart in any direction. And most people don't know that source. The heart is the source for all the brain functioning. When the heart is shut down, the brain actually doesn't function. And people experience this lots of times in all the different kinds of heart diseases they get. And that actually, what we traced, has to do with the emotions. When the emotions overwhelm the heart shuts down and the brain is totally gone. It can't function anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really the very, very shortcut, that all the heart diseases have such a strong effect on it. If it's a stroke, the stroke is actually connected very strongly with the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not only the brain is disabled, but the whole physical body and the mental body as well. And also with all the different kinds of physical heart diseases. So this is just like a how do you say, a sign on the power of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
That when the heart is not healthy, when the heart is not functioning well, when the heart does not get conscious energy through the breath, that's when the heart sort of gets so much neglected that the stress from the outer world affects the heart and it shuts down. Because the reality is that the energy should come from the heart. The heart should be empowered through energy, through the breath. And then the heart is very healthy and alive and fuels the brain in all of its needs. When I had sometimes, it was in Germany or Austria, we were teaching, and there was a student there from Italy. And when I said, the emotions are in the heart, she says, you are so wrong, because you mentioned the emotions in the brain. And there are definitely in the brain certain kind of trigger points where you can say, all right, here is the happiness, or here is whatever you experience. But that is just a feedback system from the heart. This is where you can put the sensory systems on there and it happens. Or, sexuality, intimacy, it's in the amygdala. All right, this is very great. But where is the relationship that allows you to have that intimacy, to feel attracted to each other, to move to these places? It's all in the heart.
Where is that transfer center, and how are we enlivening that?
That's right. So,
and maybe that's something that you could speak to, is that, how, and then moving into some discussion about the practice itself, is how you teach people to enliven their own heart.
oh,
Yeah, we work a lot with this special nerve in the body called the vagus nerve, which connects the brainstem to the heart and many other organs. Basically, all the important organs are connected. And this is a bidirectional nerve. It goes in both directions, but there are more nerves going from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the heart. So that gives us a feeling right away that the heart seems to be more in charge of things than the brain is.
Right.
And so the vagus nerve is especially, it has the function of slowing things down. It gives the slow down signal from the parasympathetic nervous system. So we've actually had research done on our method at Penn State University, and we published that on our website. It's a peer-reviewed study. And it talks about how powerfully the heart affects the nervous system, and that the breath affects the heart. So we can't control the heart directly, but we can control the heart through the way we breathe. And there are two biological mechanisms in the body that our research speaks about, actually, that where the breath affects the heart in both of these ways, which causes the heart to not only slow down, but to become more rhythmic. And the key word for that is coherence. There's something called heart rate variability. Have you talked about that before? That the heartbeat doesn't come on time every. The heartbeat wiggles And in the wiggle, there is a message. There's a signal there. Actually, the wiggle in the heart rate
Mm-hmm.
expresses our emotion. So
Mm-hmm.
when the whole magnetic field has the pulse in it. It's not just this field that the heart creates is pulsing with the heart. So that wiggle that's in the heart rate is in the field also. That means we're broadcasting our emotional state through magnetism, and people pick that up.
Yeah, of
They, they,
course.
and they're affected by our emotional state. So it's very important to consider, when you're speaking, for instance, where's your where's your feeling, not just the
Mm-hmm.
content that you want to express in your mind, but communicate yourself, your own heart-based being.
Mm-hmm. And I'm really appreciating how you speak, and it's the second time you touched on the magnetic field. And it's not, for whatever reason, it's not something that I've really thought about. I think about the energetic field, and in a way, it's one and the same. But I feel like there's an extra nuance, or a nuance to how it is that um, you both see it, experience it, and maybe also, well, and how you teach about it.
Well, my training is in science, so it was very important for me to understand what is this field. And so I went to the Harold Bitter Laboratory at MIT, where they have a squid instrument. It's a very, very sensitive magnetic instrument. And here they were able to show a man standing 15 feet away from this instrument called the squid. And over here at the squid, we're seeing his heartbeat. So that happened to me, like, I don't know, 50 years ago. So I could see right away that, well, there's something to this. This field of energy is measurable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a reality fix. That's good to know. It's not just woo-woo. It's really something that we can measure and feel.
Yeah.
But in everyday life, we experience the heart in a magnetic way that it repulses and it attracts.
Mm-hmm.
And you experience this unconsciously. You move into online with you, Laurie, or you move into a room and you feel the heart's energy, whom you feel attracted to, and who repulses you. And you can then go ahead inside of yourself and see, why am I attracted to this person? And what repulses me about this person? And you are in the emotional side of your heart. If you have those abilities,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what the practice of heart rhythm meditation teaches you. So if you give me a minute, I explain to you, because
Sure.
to our understanding, heart rhythm meditation is the very, very basic practice of life, because it holds breath and it holds heart. We just had a little grandchild born, and today I think she's 9 days old, this little thing.
Mm.
So it's so precious, because when you have this little being in front of you, and when the being is in the womb, what it listens to is the heartbeat of the mother.
Yes.
And itself has this incredible swooshing heartbeat when it's in there, right? And this is what we're listening to. The mother gets this thing put on her womb, and you listen to this swoosh, swoosh. And you're like, wow, she's alive. And it's much more bigger and powerful than we thought. So then that being is out, and you hold it in your arms, and all you feel is breath. They breathe with their whole body.
Mm-hmm.
And you can put your hand on their little chest, that tiny chest, and then you feel breath and heart.
Yeah.
And that is the life force. That being is in this world and is here. And you wonder, did this have in the invisible world life and breath? Those are my questions. How do they manifest themselves? But this is practically the practice of heart rhythm meditation. This is when we start teaching heart rhythm meditation, we say we have to be sitting still in order to become aware. What does our breath do? We have a breath at all times, but our everyday breath, because we have gone through life, we shut our breath actually more and more down. Our breath is very shallow. And through knowing babies, we want just like to have this deep breath that the babies have.
Mm-hmm.
And we teach this breath that we move the abdominal muscles below the belly button. When we exhale, we completely contract. And when we inhale, we completely expand the physical body.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, you need to involve your mind. Do you see? So the practice becomes in the beginning mind and energy, the breath.
Yeah.
Because in order to move the breath, you have to really concentrate and focus, and your mind is not flopping around in memory lane, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is really focused in the body. And
It's present.
When you move into the body, what comes to the foreground is the heartbeat or the pulse. So there you have it, breath and heart.
Breath and heart.
And then we move into the synchronization of breath and heart. And the way we do this, we say, for how many heartbeats do you inhale? And for how many heartbeats do you exhale?
Mm.
And again, the mind is completely occupied. That's a difficult practice for some people. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
And then you figure out, oh my God, my exhalation is 3 times as long as my inhalation. How is that possible?
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And so we teach people how to actually make their breath equal, to inhale for as long as they exhale. And that already has a big effect on their behavior and on their way of being. And they become aware of the rhythm of lives. And then when you stay with this synchronization, that's when you start feeling the magnetism. That's when the field of the heart opens up. And then you are already in a completely different reality than what you call this insight of yourself opens up to yourself. So this is for some people, that's already a long path that I described here. And for some people, they get it right away. Because if people are in touch with their heartbeat, the practice is easy. But
and then you move into the contemplation aspect of it.
Exactly.
And that's where the heart's guidance comes in. I love that.
Yes, we have a practice where we breathe with another person. So it's very, very good for relationships, by the way, but it also works in business. If you're trying to sell somebody to somebody, you want to know who's the buyer. So we breathe back and forth. Imagine that you breathe from your heart and you send energy to the other person's heart. And then as you breathe in, imagine that the energy is drawn from their heart into your heart. So you develop a bidirectional link, heart to heart, and consciousness follows that energy. So pretty soon you're beginning to feel just like the other person. You feel internally in yourself what that person feels in their self. And this gives an inner experience of another person, which is quite surprising because people are not the way they appear. Their inner reality is very different from how they show themselves. So here you're experiencing the inner world of another person, the way they think, the way they feel, who they experience themselves as being. And this is a really wonderful example, a way to build a relationship. See, our organization is called IAM Heart. Well, the IAM stands for the Institute for Applied Meditation on the Heart. Institute for Applied Meditation on the Heart, IAMHeart.org, by the way. That's our website.
But it's also, and I'm going to interrupt you here, it's also I am. Those words are very, very important to me.
Very important.
Laurie, I see the name of our organization as I Am Heart.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly. Me too. I mean, I didn't know the whole piece of it, but yes. And when we can claim that, when we can live it, what we're doing and what you're teaching that is so powerful to me is about going beyond separation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have one student in our school, he's a minister and he's very, very deeply into how his religious beliefs work with the work that we do. And he gave a very beautiful presentation that Moses received on Mount Sinai, the message from the one being, I am that I am. And he said, finally, we have decoded the I am that I am. V-I am heart. That is
Absolutely.
today's decoding of the one being. I was like, whoa, thank you. I mean, I actually always thought that, but he really, he's a minister, so he has to, he is allowed to say this out loud. It was
And
really delightful.
what my teacher used to say, because we were very much in all of that, was I am that I am that I am.
That's right.
It adds another dimension to it because we are that I am presence.
Right.
And we sit within that. We sit in that. Um, but
Now,
I'm interested about how you teach someone to begin to recognize the voice of the heart. The voice of the heart is different than the voice of the mind.
Big time.
And
Yes.
to
It
be
is.
able to tap into that, into the guidance.
Yes.
That's right. We feel that the heart knows so many things that the mind has only a superficial knowledge of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So an exercise for helping discover this larger aspect of heart is to feel the pulse in the body. This pulse is easier to feel than the heartbeat because the pulse shows up everywhere. It shows up in your wrist, for instance. It shows up in your neck. You can feel the pulse anywhere. So you feel the pulse in the body and then try to feel the pulse in more than one place at the same time. Like, can you feel your pulse in your neck? Is there something else in your body that's throbbing where the pulse also occurs? And pretty soon you can feel, as you get into that, you can feel the whole body is pulsing. The pulse is everywhere because it really is. You're just being aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you feel like here, this entire physical part of my body is experiencing the pulse of my heart. And then if you just notice a little bit beyond the skin, right out here, you can feel a pulse that's bigger than your body. And that's where you're beginning to feel the magnetic field, because the magnetic field is also pulsing.
Mm-hmm.
It's measurable. We can prove that happens. And you're just becoming aware of it. Look for a pulse bigger than your body.
Mm.
And that's the magnetic field. And that's let's say, the real heart. It's a huge heart. And when you feel that, then you know myself is not skin limited. Myself fills the room, fills the space. It goes beyond the room. This is the real self. The real self is enormous.
Yeah. See, I think Puran teaches here again a very, very beautiful technique. We have all these places. I know that I would not be in America if it wouldn't be for my heart. And I did not know this particular technique of heart rhythm meditation, but I also think that the heart has imprinted in its depth, its purpose. It has imprinted it that why am I here? And I had a very, very strong need, by studying in Vienna, clinical psychology, psychology in itself is supposed to be the science of the soul, right? But that's not what you really learn. So I was severely, severely disappointed. And I listened to my heart in a very intuitive way that this is not it. This is not what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved on. I moved on. And what you find, if you really listen to your heart, you find a lot of courage. You're like, no, I'm not having this. I'm not putting up with this. This is what I'm looking for. And you find that when you really listen to the heart has an incredible amount of power and courage and strength to help you to get through the difficulties, because there come a lot of difficulties towards you when you want to become who you are.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that needs strength. But I have to tell you, by the end, when I was here in America, in New York City, of all the great places, I was like, wow, this country wears me out. I had language problem. I had relationships problem. I had all the problems that you can imagine.
Yeah.
And I needed really a serious teacher. I was meditating and did yoga before, but I really needed a serious teacher who helped me to understand the layers of one's being, and how to access this one being that we are, how to access that in a really reliable way that is, I have to say out loud, different from religion, because religion is great, but it doesn't give you experiential experiences.
No. No, it tries to tell you what your experience should be.
That's right. And so I fell apart. And then through the meditation practices that got really renewed, and I felt like internally through initiation, like new portals were opening where I experienced my energetic being and my one being that had access and made me free of a lot of different other kinds of belief systems that I was holding that actually hold you small, make you narrow, make you shallow, make you not confident, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa. So and this is where the two of us met, you know, through our teacher. And he asked us to create a school. And so through Puran, we have all these incredible detailed teachings, you know, of how you feel your pulse outside of yourself. Whoa. So this comes through incredible concentration and contemplation practices, and it can be taught. So what we are very proud of, that all these experiences can be taught. And when one dedicates themselves to it, then you can get there and experience the oneness.
I'm struck with some similarities in our journey, Susanna.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of you, and maybe both of you, have used the word earlier, decode, to decode
Mhm.
the experience. And that's a very meaningful word to me because I do work a lot in energy. People have experiences of energy, they have their own energetic openings. And what I always say is then, I mean, that's just there in energy. It's there we feel it, we experience it, we can talk about the sensation of it, but then we have to decode it. We have to decode the meaning of it for us in our everyday life.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear one of you speak to decoding.
Yes, it's important to understand what the experience is telling us, because the experience is physical, it's a sensation, it's an emotion, it's an image. I mean, just think of the difficulty of decoding a dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a dream is very real, but still it's a code, and you have to decode it. So we want people to form their own decoding method, right? Because everybody has a little different view of it.
Yeah.
We don't want to tell them what something means. We want them to build a belief system based on their experience. So don't believe something that somebody tells you. Only believe what you've experienced. But then what does that experience mean? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where philosophy comes in. There's a philosophy to the heart. There's a philosophy that says there's one heart, really. And we each have a microcosm of that one heart. That means we all have access to the emotions of humanity. And what's happening in humanity is happening in each one of us.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the experiences that people have are not really personal. They're universal. And it's showing up in them as a personal experience, but it doesn't start with their own trigger. It starts with something that's happening, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then what's really exciting is that one person can have an impact on the one heart,
Yeah.
because we can upload our experience, which is then downloaded by everybody,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So this is the role of the mystic, we feel, is to have a conscious effect on the one heart of all hearts, so that everyone is advanced in some way. We think this universal opening of the heart, which is happening everywhere, is not a person-to-person experience. It's something which is spreading like a virus,
In a
because
good
it's
way.
it's a because it's a download from the one
Mm-hmm.
heart into every heart. It's the 100th monkey phenomenon, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When something happens to enough people, everybody gets it all of a sudden. And
No, though I'm moved by that because it is. I've been recently directed to do these small gatherings where we're coming together and energetically we are remembering and experiencing that individually, each on our own, and yet in coming together, there is something transformative that happens in the field, and you've
right.
given a whole other dimension to that. And so I feel like, okay, yes, I'm willing to continue. I'm continuing this. but it just strikes me in an important way.
Yeah. It's by teaching small groups, you actually can have an effect on the whole.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very important, I think, in today's day and age, because there's so much going on in the world, right? And how do you help that the whole is being lifted
Mm-hmm.
while you're working in your small circles, right?
So we feel that in a school, it's important to have two kinds of systems in place. One is, what kind of people are we? We have a system of 12 archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to help people discover the parts of themselves that they haven't noticed yet.
Mm-hmm.
People have specialized to one of the archetypes, but they're all present inside each one of us. So we want to expand the sense of self by saying, you're not only a king or a queen, you're
Mm-hmm.
also a scientist, you're also a poet, you're also, different. We have these 12 archetypes. Then the other system we need is the system of progress. Where are you on the path to becoming who you are? There's 9 steps along the way, which we didn't make up. These have been described for at least 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
The steps of adult development, like child development, has been mapped out very clearly. For instance, children always walk before they talk. What about adult development? What are the steps that a person goes through as they mature spiritually?
Mm-hmm.
And so the ancients that we represent described it in 9 steps. And in those 9 steps are things like the fulfillment of psychology, the fulfillment of the individual. But going beyond that is enlightenment, and beyond that is illumination. So these are just words, of course, but they represent states of being that we can identify, and that people can self-assess. I can see I've made this transition. I'm in a new place.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to help people go through those 9 steps. That's our work.
Wow. Well, you answered what was going to be my next and last question, which is really about the mission of I Am Heart. And it feels like maybe I should just ask this rather than say what it feels like to me, but it's about the difference between that, what so many spiritual schools or programs do, and how this is different.
Well, it's an ancient system. It's that we're using, and it's a Western system. It's not based on Buddhism. It's based on actually Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see any church aspect of it. It's the mystics. It's the mystics of Christianity, the mystics of the world. It goes back actually to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So there have been mystics in every tradition, and that's what we're working with: is this experience, and not the dogma. No dogma, only experience.
And the goal, how we can put it in words, is to create a culture of the heart. The current cultures out there, they're not supportive of the heart.
No.
Starting with the educational system, right? And then we have this whole system of war and defense. That's all very, very destructive to heart development and who the human being can be. So to really value the culture of the heart is to really change and move from the inside out, create a sense of an inner being that we have. And how does that inner being work? And when you feel energetically connected, and when you have a concept of that we are all one, and move into respect of that, how do you act, and how do you interact, and how do you have respect of the whole while you live your individual life? So those are the great spiritual goals to have, right?
I would love to have the two of you come back and talk about that culture of the heart, because that is what I feel like we are needing as a world to move into, to embrace, to embody. And it's more important that I can even give voice to. I feel how centrally crucial that is.
Because it holds to everything. I mean, today we have so many different problems, like the environmental problems, the climate, right? All that. And you learn that everything is energy, not only the human beings, right? The rocks or the plants, the animals. And you can actually, when you pay attention, you can see that the animals are evolving. Here in Tucson, we live with coyotes and with javelinas. And when you drive on the road out in the desert landscapes, where we have roads, you feel they hear a car coming and either they run fast or they stop. And they don't have traffic lights. How do they do that? It's all energy, and it's the feeling it and hearing it, and they work with today's world. They all evolve. All of life evolves.
Yes.
And we have to feel that, and you have to get trust and hope through that. But you have to respect it. And there's very, very respect of the whole in this world. And that comes from lack of heart energy. It does not come from rules. If you give people rules, they neglect them.
And they don't learn. There's no change. There's that evolution step doesn't happen.
Yeah. And so this whole decay that we go on, or this whole destruction that happens, I think it's actually a system through that we waken up. Luckily or unfortunately, the human being needs a lot of stimuli that make us wake up. And the stimuli are sometimes very brutal, that make us think, wake up, and feel, and become aware of who we really are, what our potential is, and power.
Well, what you're doing is very important, I think, Laurie. And I really admire that you have a teacher, that you understand the importance of working together with people that have gone this way before. And we're not making it up, we're just following the wisdom that's been there for all along. And so, some people are able to communicate it to us, and we've learned from them.
And that's a it's a big piece of how we move forward.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Puran and Susanna, for everything that you're doing and what you brought to our audience today. I know, again, I'll just say this, that you can be found at iamheart.org, right?
Yes.
And, impressive. Okay. And, well, if you're listening to the podcast, you're not going to see, but I will put this link in the show notes, which is iamheart.org/gift. And what is this gift that you are offering?
We have a free app called Breath and Heart, an app for the iPhone and the Android. And this app has hundreds of free meditations in it, all about the heart. This website /gift also gives you access to the studio, which is a daily meditation led by a live teacher that you can talk to and ask questions about. And it's happening every day at different times of the day.
That's wonderful.
And then it also talks about the courses that we have and the books that we have. The books are available on Amazon. There's a lot of free materials that we're offering.
Great.
So this app even shows for people, who cannot feel their heartbeat or their pulse. Here's a circle where you can count this. You put your hand in back of your camera on Android or iPhone, and it actually has a sound with it too, so that you can do this and can breathe in the rhythm of your own pulse. That's what this does. And then we
learn
also
the concentration.
Learn the concentration, because we just think that's what we do and that's what's most important. And we also have in there for free, with the same kind of technique, finger on the back. This is the system of heart rate variability.
It draws a graph. This is the only app that's free that does this. It draws a graph of your heart rate variability, which is a key indicator for stress resilience. It's a very important biological indicator.
And when you breathe rhythmically, 8 heartbeats in, 8 heartbeats out, you create a sinusoidal wave, which protects the heart from all the stresses that we have in life. This is, I think, an incredible thing, that we can actually protect our heart, because the heart is very vulnerable. This is how we create all these diseases. It just collapses.
Yes.
But this breath protects the heart. So that's really miraculous that we have all these tools right there.
Right here.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you again for being such wonderful guests on Wisdom Talk Radio. I really appreciate you both. Thank you.
Well, you feel like such a good friend of the heart. We really are fortunate that we have met somebody like you who is so aligned with the same philosophy and the same lifestyle. So it's the culture of the heart. Thank you.
Culture of the heart. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I want to thank our audience for being with us here today at Wisdom Talk Radio. And remember, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. We're also on YouTube. So if you want to watch the video, that's where you can find that. And if you have enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to leave a review, because that is what helps other people find this kind of transformational wisdom. It's not everywhere. And in leaving a review, you do help spread the word. And for more for you about your own quantum connection and your own capacity to live more and more into your own heart, go to the Baca Institute and take the Quantum Connection quiz now. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us here at Wisdom Talk Radio. We wish you well in your conscious explorations. For more information and to join in the conversation, our website is wisdomtalkradio.com or at Wisdom Talk Radio on Facebook.